Let me tell you something that happened to my neighbor Harold last winter. He woke up at 2 in the morning to a sound he had never heard before, a steady, quiet dripping coming from under his kitchen sink. He turned on the light, opened that cabinet door, and his heart nearly stopped. Water everywhere, pooling on the shelf, soaking into the wood, dripping down onto the floor. And the worst part? That leak had probably been going on for days, maybe even weeks without him knowing. Harold is 67 years old. He lives alone, and the last thing he wanted to do at 2 a.m. was call a plumber, or worse, wait until morning while the damage got bigger and bigger. So he did what most of us would do. He grabbed some old towels, stuffed them under the pipe, and just hoped for the best. Sound familiar? Here's what Harold didn't know, and what most people over 50 have never been told. There are incredibly simple, fast, and cheap tricks that can seal almost any leak in your home in just minutes. No plumber, no special training, no expensive tools, just smart, easy solutions that actually work, and that you can do yourself right now, today. By the time this video is over, you are going to know exactly what to do the next time a pipe drips, a hose cracks, a faucet leaks, or water starts showing up somewhere it absolutely should not be. And trust me, you are going to wish someone had shown you this 20 years ago. So stay with me, because the very first trick I'm going to show you, it works so fast it almost feels like cheating. Trick number 1, the miracle wrap, silicone self-fusing tape. All right, let's start with the one tool that every single home in America should have sitting in a kitchen drawer or a garage shelf, and almost nobody has ever heard of it. It's called silicone self-fusing tape. And before you say, "Oh, I've tried tape before and it never works," stop right there, because this is nothing like regular tape. This is not duct tape, this is not electrical tape, this is something completely different. And once you use it, you will never look at a leaking pipe the same way again. Here's what makes it so incredible. This tape has no adhesive on it at all. Instead, it bonds directly to itself. You wrap it around a leaking pipe, stretch it tight as you go, and layer it over itself. And within seconds, it creates a watertight seal that is stronger than most people expect. It can handle both cold and hot water pipes. It can stretch up to 3 times its original length, and it works even on wet pipes, which means you don't even have to dry the pipe off before you use it. Here's exactly how you do it. First, find the leak. It might be a small crack, a pinhole, or a loose joint. Now take your silicone tape and start wrapping it about 2 inches before the leak. Not right on it, but before it. Wrap it tightly at an angle, overlapping each layer by about half the tape's width. Keep stretching as you go. Go past the leak by another 2 inches on the other side. Press it firm with your fingers and hold for about 10 seconds. That's it. That's the whole trick. The seal you just created can hold pressure up to 150 psi. It can handle temperatures from below freezing all the way up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. And a single roll of this tape costs less than $10 at any hardware store, or you can grab it on Amazon and have it at your door tomorrow. But wait, because some leaks are not on pipes. Some leaks show up in places that tape just can't reach. And that's exactly where the next trick comes in. Trick number 2, the putty that seals anything, epoxy putty stick. Picture this. You go outside to check on your garden hose and you notice a small crack near the connector. Or maybe you're under the bathroom sink and you see a slow seep coming from a fitting. Not a big gush, just a slow, steady drip that's been quietly rotting the wood underneath. This is where epoxy putty becomes your best friend. Epoxy putty looks like a 2-colored stick of clay, usually gray and white twisted together, and the magic happens the moment you start kneading it with your fingers. As you mix those 2 colors together, a chemical reaction starts. The putty begins to harden, and you've got about 5 to 10 minutes to press it exactly where you need it before it sets like a rock. Here's the step-by-step.
Cut off a small piece, about the size of a marble or a little bigger depending on your leak. Knead it in your hands for 30 seconds until the colors are completely mixed and it feels warm and uniform. Then press it firmly over the leak, pushing it into any crack or gap you can see. Smooth it around the pipe like you're covering it with a thick coat of paste. Hold it firmly in place for about 3 to 5 minutes. Now, here's the part that surprises most people. You don't have to turn the water off first. Many brands of epoxy putty are designed to work even with water still running. The putty will set underwater, and underwater pressure will not wash it away. Within an hour, that putty is fully cured. It is rock solid. It can be painted over, drilled into, and it will not shrink or crack over time. One stick usually costs around $5 to $8, and it can fix leaks on pipes, fittings, tanks, gutters, and even cracks in concrete. Now, here's where things get really interesting, because the next trick is one that most seniors have actually had in their home for years without ever realizing it could save them from a plumbing disaster. Trick number 3, the plumber's secret weapon: thread seal tape, Teflon tape. You've probably seen that thin white tape wrapped around pipe threads before. Maybe a plumber used it when they fixed something at your house years ago. But did you know that you can use this tape yourself, and that it can stop and prevent leaks on any threaded pipe connection in your entire home? This is called PTFE tape, but most people know it as plumber's tape or Teflon tape, and it is hands down the most underrated leak prevention tool that exists. Here's why it matters so much. A huge number of household leaks, especially in bathrooms and kitchens, happen right at the connection point where two pipes screw together. Over time, those threads loosen just slightly, and that tiny gap is all water needs to start dripping. Teflon tape fills that gap completely. It wraps into the threads of the pipe and creates a compression seal that water simply cannot get through. Here's how to use it. First, turn off the water supply to that section, under the sink or at the main valve. Unscrew the leaking connection, dry off the threads as much as you can. Now wrap the Teflon tape clockwise around the male threads. That's the pipe end that screws into the fitting. Wrap it 2 to 3 times, pulling it gently tight as you go. Then screw the connection back together. Turn the water back on. 9 times out of 10, that drip is completely gone. A roll of Teflon tape costs less than $2. It fits in your pocket, and knowing how to use it means you will never have to call a plumber for a simple threaded connection leak again, ever. And speaking of things you already have at home, the next trick uses something that is probably sitting in your cabinet right now.
Trick number 4, the kitchen cabinet fix: plumber's putty. This one is specifically for a leak that drives people absolutely crazy. The slow seep that happens around the base of a faucet or around the drain of your kitchen or bathroom sink. You wipe it dry, it comes back. You dry it again, it's back again. And slowly, quietly, it is soaking into your countertop or your vanity and doing damage you can't even see. Plumber's putty is the answer. It's a soft, pliable, clay-like sealant that has been used by plumbers for over 50 years, and for good reason. It stays soft and flexible even after it's applied, which means it creates a waterproof gasket that holds up under everyday use without cracking or drying out. Here's the trick. Roll a small piece of plumber's putty between your palms until it forms a rope, about the thickness of a pencil. Then press that rope around the base of whatever you're sealing: the faucet base, the drain flange, the sink basket strainer. Press it firmly into place. Then set your fixture back down onto it. Tighten everything up, and the putty will compress and spread to fill every tiny gap. Wipe away the excess that squeezes out from the sides, turn your water back on. That leak is done. One important note: do not use plumber's putty on plastic pipes or on marble and granite surfaces. For those materials, use silicone caulk instead. But for standard porcelain and metal fixtures, plumber's putty is fast, easy, and incredibly reliable. And now we're getting to one of the most common leaks that people ignore for way too long, because it seems small, but it is costing you money every single month. The silent money drain: fixing a dripping faucet with a washer. A faucet that drips once per second wastes over 3,000 gallons of water every single year. Think about that.
3,000 gallons going right down the drain while you sleep, while you watch TV, while you go about your day. And on your water bill, you are paying for every single drop. The cause of most dripping faucets is almost embarrassingly simple. It's a worn-out rubber washer, a tiny ring that costs about 25 cents sitting inside your faucet handle that has hardened or cracked over time. Here's how to replace it and stop that drip for good. Turn off the water supply valve under the sink. Turn the faucet handle on to release any remaining pressure and drain the line. Now look at your faucet handle. There is usually a small decorative cap on top. Pop that off with a flathead screwdriver. Underneath, you'll see a screw. Remove it. Now pull the handle straight up and off. Inside, you will see a packing nut. Unscrew that with a wrench. Pull out the stem. At the very bottom of the stem, you will see a rubber washer held in place by a brass screw. Remove the old washer, pop in a new one the same size, tighten the screw back down, and reassemble everything in reverse order. Turn the water back on. The drip is gone. Total cost, less than $1. Total time, under 20 minutes. And the satisfaction of fixing it yourself, that is absolutely priceless. But here's something a lot of people don't realize. Some of the worst leaks in a home are not coming from inside at all. They're coming from outside. And if you ignore them, they will find their way inside eventually. Trick number 6, the outside leak nobody talks about, sealing gaps with exterior caulk. Walk around the outside of your house sometime and really look at the places where pipes, wires, or cables enter through the wall. Look at your window frames. Look at where your outdoor faucet comes through the siding. Look at the base of your chimney, your vents, anywhere there is a gap or a crack where the outside world meets the inside of your house. What do you see? Chances are you see small gaps, little cracks, places where the old caulk has shrunk and pulled away, and every single one of those gaps is a place where water can sneak in during a rainstorm, slowly, silently soaking into your walls and your insulation without making a single sound until the damage is already done. Exterior silicone or latex caulk is the fix, and applying it is one of the easiest things you will ever do. Load a tube of exterior caulk into a standard caulk gun. Cut the tip at a 45-degree angle, just a small opening, about the size of the gap you're filling. Press the tip right against the gap and squeeze the trigger while moving the gun steadily along the crack in one smooth motion. Don't go too fast, don't go too slow. You want a consistent bead that fills the gap completely. Smooth it with a wet finger or a caulk tool. Let it dry according to the package directions, usually 24 hours for full cure, and that gap is now completely sealed. Do this once a year, just walk around your house and touch up any caulk that's cracking or pulling away, and you will prevent thousands of dollars in water damage over the life of your home.
Trick number 7, the one tool every senior homeowner must own. Before we wrap up, there is one more thing you absolutely need to know about. And it's not a repair trick, it's a detection trick, because the scariest leaks are the ones you can't see. A water leak detector is a small, inexpensive device, most cost between $15 and $30, that you place on the floor under your sink, behind your toilet, near your water heater, or anywhere water might show up unexpectedly. The moment it detects moisture, it sounds an alarm loud enough to hear from the next room. Think about how much damage Harold could have prevented if he had one of these under his kitchen sink. Instead of discovering a week's worth of water damage in the middle of the night, he would have heard that alarm the moment the first drop hit the floor. Place one under every sink. Place one near your washing machine. Place one next to your water heater. These little devices are silent guardians. They ask for nothing. They sit there doing their job 24 hours a day. And they can save you from catastrophic water damage that costs thousands of dollars to repair. So let's go back to Harold for just a moment. Today, after everything I just shared with you, Harold has silicone tape in his kitchen drawer, epoxy putty in his garage, and a water leak detector under every sink in his house. He fixed a dripping faucet last spring all by himself. He sealed a crack in his outdoor hose bib with epoxy putty in under 10 minutes. He hasn't called a plumber in over a year. And he told me, "I wish someone had shown me this stuff 30 years ago." Well, now you know.
Every single trick in this video is simple, affordable, and completely doable, no matter your age, no matter your experience level. You do not need to be a plumber. You do not need a truck full of tools. You just need to know the right techniques, and now you do. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Pick up that silicone tape, grab a stick of epoxy putty, put a leak detector under your sink tonight, because the best time to prepare for a leak is before it happens, and the second best time is right now.